Hello and welcome to the Freedom Frequency Podcast. I'm your host, Kaya, energy healer, psychic channel, and spiritual mentor for women who are ready to ditch the spiritual rulebook, release the pressure and overwhelm, and let go of all that comparison that makes you feel like what you're doing isn't enough. In this podcast, I'm going to share bits of my journey with you, as well as my wisdom and knowledge to show you that spirituality gets to be something that works for you and not something that you work for. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello. I am so excited to record this episode because it is going to be an energy update, kind of like channeled message coming through for September. I love receiving this kind of content myself. I love when I see other channels and intuitives posting content with different energy updates and card pulls and things like that. So I felt like I would love to create content like this as well. And so my intention is to do this every month or most months, just kind of tuning in, asking the guides what is coming up for this month, what's a message for the collective that tunes into this podcast specifically. So every month it's just going to be whatever's coming through. My intention with this as well is that I was initially planning to do some card pulls during the episode and things like that, but I'm actually recording this at my dad's house, so I'm here just for a few days, a little vacation kind of. I come stay over a couple nights with my son because my dad lives out of town, so we make a trip every month or two just to come and visit and spend some time. So I did not bring my oracle cards, and I'm just trusting that even though it was the intention, that it was not meant to be for this energy update, but potentially in the future. So I'm just going to be tuning in to whatever comes through for the energy of next month, just whatever is coming through my channel for this episode. So that's on the agenda for today. The other thing I wanted to mention before we dive into that is I want to kind of give updates every now and then of just what's happening in my world. I know a lot of people listening to this podcast also follow me on Instagram from what I can tell based on who messages me about episodes and stuff. But for those of you who don't, I have my Instagram linked in the show notes for you. And the latest update of what's happening right now in my world is that I recently launched my group energy healing membership collective. I don't even have a name for it. That's just kind of what I'm calling it: membership collective, group healing, whatever. And essentially this container is for the woman who desires to have consistent healing. She wants to have energy maintenance, so where you're not going so far between energy sessions, kind of willy-nilly joining one here and there when you see them. It's monthly energy healing sessions, as well as consistent connection and community. So this membership is a mix of the monthly energy healing sessions and then also a group Telegram channel where we are in community. So what happens in that channel is every week on Tuesdays, and I drop in and have a Q&A thread in there where you can drop in with whatever is happening in your life right now, whatever you're going through, if you have a struggle, if you're just looking for general guidance, whatever it is, and I channel a message back to you. So for everyone so far, I've been sending 7-minute voice notes, just whatever is coming through. Some people ask specific questions about something happening currently in their life. And others just kind of say I've been feeling a transition, so whatever guidance is coming through. And I channel using my guides and your guides to give you some intuitive guidance based on your specific situation. So this membership is a perfect place to be in community, get specific advice personalized to you, channeled messages every single week, have a resource library of meditations that is ever growing and created for you as we go. And then of course the monthly energy healing session. So I crafted this space with such intention for the women coming in that it would just be a space of deep healing and staying consistently plugged into the healing. So I know sometimes life gets busy and we're on and off with things, and it's hard sometimes to keep up with like, you know, your own spiritual path, especially when you've got a lot going on. So I wanted to make this container with enough touch points to feel like, you know, every week we're kind of staying plugged in, getting guidance, keeping momentum going, but not so many that it's like, okay, this is overwhelming and I can't keep up. So we've got some great women in there so far. If you are feeling called to also come into this space with us, then we would love to have you. It's a revolving door. You can join anytime. And our first session for our group energy healing is coming up on September 6th before this episode comes out. So if you're wanting to join us for the first session and be there as we open up this space that way, then I will also link that into the show notes as well. Anyway, into the update, the energy update, I'm just going to take a second to ground in and see what's coming through. Okay, so what I'm really feeling the energy for September right off the bat is, we just switched over into Virgo season, so I'm not surprised. It's this energy of like cleaning up, like getting organized, and it makes sense too with like, you know, September is that back to school time, summer is coming to an end, everyone's kind of back to routine. And I've been feeling that a lot lately in my own life as well, and seeing that in friends, just kind of that energy of like just wanting to get back on track, wanting to get organized again. I see a lot of people around me who are like, you know, wanting to settle into a new job. Like there's a lot of change happening, and this change is more like, it's not change in the way of like, let's take a risk and just change everything. But the change I'm seeing a lot of people making lately is like change in terms of like getting more structured, like getting more organized. So like getting a job that's more consistent or something like that, right? That's really what I'm seeing coming through, is this energy of like, where can I clean up things in my life? And this can be really anything. So I know for me, if you've been watching my Instagram stories, you know that this past weekend, I actually spent a lot of time purging my home. And that's like so Virgo season. It's also so like that point in my menstrual cycle at that time where it's like that nesting energy right after your cycle ends. So it's like that energy of just like wanting to get everything purged out, wanting to clean. And I feel that energy going to last for the next few weeks into this month, and this energy of like, September's here, let's get back to routine, let's clean up. And not just in terms of our physical space, like sometimes it can feel nice to purge our house, to clean our house, but also looking at like, what can I clean up in other areas of my life? So in my relationships, like romantic, friendships, business, whatever it is for you, looking at like what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to be organized. This can look like boundaries, like I'm hearing boundaries coming through, like cleaning up your boundaries and really getting clear on like, how do I put this into words? Like what you're energetically available for, like getting really clear on like what feels clean for me, like, and what is a clean way that they keep saying clean, like this, what's this clean way that I can like share my boundaries with someone else. So this could look like a friend who's like, you know, maybe impeding on your boundaries in terms of like, she's always calling you or something, like this is a random example. And you want to like let her know, like, I can't be available for you all the time. Like I have other things going on, like you can't call me at 10 p.m. or whatever. And so what I'm seeing here is like, what's a clean boundary you could set with that friend that feels good for you? And in turn, knowing that would feel good for the friend too, even if like, it doesn't seem like it at first, but boundaries help everyone. They help both sides. And then what's a clean way for you to say that? So instead of setting boundaries by like just being irritated with someone like, oh, why don't they get it? Or being like, hello, this is my boundary. It's like the way I'm seeing like September and like when it comes to boundary setting is like, how can I say my boundaries in a clean way, like with clean energy, like not from a energy of like frustration or anger or resentment, but how can I just have a conversation with someone and say like, hey, this is what I've been noticing. I don't want you to feel bad, but you know, I want to set this boundary for us to maintain our our friendship and to maintain like the happiness between us or whatever it is. So hopefully that makes sense. That's a really big message coming through. I just feel like a lot of people right now need to clean up their boundaries, and like heading into the end of the year, like, yeah, there's something about it that just feels like the boundaries in different areas of your life, but I'm feeling specifically in like relationships and friendships. And then they're saying like this is one thing to clean up. And then another thing is just like your energy, like cleaning up your energy right now. There's so much going on. Like, I don't want to say in the cosmos, but like there is actually too, but like there's so much going on in like other dimensions, kind of like there's a lot going on between like the war between light and dark. And right now, like you probably heard people say like the veil is so thin, and it is like the veil between like dark and light and like the other dimensions is very thin. And there's a huge like tug of war going on right now between like light and dark. And like it's kind of like cleaning up this energy. Like this can come back to boundaries too, really. And it's like cleaning up your own energy with like what you're allowing in that is darkness. Like I'm seeing like people who are like not setting boundaries with like consuming social media and like how much they're consuming and what they're consuming. So it's like, are you spending way too much time scrolling mindlessly? Are you looking at things on the internet that don't make you feel good? Like, are you looking at things that you're comparing yourself to that makes you feel kind of shitty because you're like, oh, I wish I had that, and I'm in this lack energy? Are you looking at things that are like, negative news and like going down rabbit holes, looking up negative things that are going to make you feel terrible, but you can't help yourself? Like, they're kind of showing me just like, yeah, like cleaning up your own boundaries with yourself and with what you're consuming, and like not just in social media, but like from other people too. And like this could come back to the thing I said earlier about boundaries, but it's like, who are you hanging around that makes you feel negative, but you feel like you have to hang around them? Like maybe it's family or something, and it's like you always feel crappy after you hang out with them, but you're like, oh, but they're my family, like I have to, or something. And it's like, where are you letting things bring down your energy? Because like even if it seems innocent, what I'm seeing is like it's darkness coming in sneaky ways to like bring down the people who are rising up into the light, right? So like obviously with this tug of war and this war going on between light and dark, it's like the dark doesn't want the light to win, right? And like vice versa. So those of us who are actively like working on our light and working on our spiritual ascension and like, taking care of ourselves and our energy and our boundaries, like the darkness is going to find sneaky ways to come in and try and bring us back down. And sometimes that's through other people. Sometimes it's through social media. Sometimes it's like, taking advantage of what your ego is wanting to like bend on. And like, what I'm really hearing is just like, it's time to really be aware of how you're taking care of your own energy first off. So this can come back to just like clearing your energy, protecting your energy, cord cutting, like all that maintenance stuff. I have a podcast episode coming out on this next week, so stay tuned on like some basics to energy maintenance. But sorry, I'm like listening. Yeah. What they're really saying is like, it's the boundaries with yourself, like taking care of your own energy, but also being really aware of like, where are you letting, like clearing your energy, taking care of it, but then letting it leak out in a way that just seems sneaky. Like, I don't think keep saying sneaky. Like, where are you letting your energy leak out by like, going on social media and scrolling things you don't want to actually be looking at, or comparing yourself to other people, or like, spending time with people who don't make you feel great, like all these things that I was saying. Like, it's like, where are you letting yourself bend when you've done the work to make yourself feel good? And yeah, they're really just showing that like these are the things that need to be cleaned up. And now that we're in this Virgo season energy, this like Virgo is like very organized, very yeah, like it's just like I see like these bookcases are just so organized, squeaky clean. So it's like, where can you just like take care of your energy and your thoughts? And like they're showing me this bookcase, and they're saying like each book is your thoughts, and like when they're all falling over everywhere, then it's like it's easy for things to get into the cracks of like it's so hard to describe this visual I'm seeing. It's like these cracks between all the wobbly books, and like dust is getting in there, and like little spiders and things like that. And it's like when we clean up that bookcase and we clean up our thoughts so that they're all like, you know, we've taken the time to look at each one and place it carefully. So it's like, have you taken the time to like look at your thoughts that are coming up, be aware of them and take care of them? Then you're like putting the books back into like, you know, order and like standing up nice and straight, and there's nothing that can get in between them. Hopefully that makes sense. Like it does to me, I guess, the visual and like what the message was coming through. But yeah, they're basically just saying like this is the time to organize all of these things, because with everything happening right now, it's more important than ever that those of us who are in the light and who are on our ascension journeys are just really cleaning up these energy leaks. We're cleaning up these boundaries that we're not setting in all these areas of our life, and coming back to like our true essence of having like, I don't want to say organized, like, because it's not quite the word, but it's like, I guess balance. I don't know the word I'm trying to describe the feeling I'm feeling, but it's just coming back to our true essence of like purity. I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but yeah, they're basically just telling me that this whole month and even potentially into October is just going to be a major time of cleanup. And it's a major time for us to turn inward and really have self-awareness, evaluate without shame. That's another big thing coming through with this, is like looking at these things, but not feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst because I'm binging all the stuff on social media, or like I'm letting people walk all over me with my boundaries. It's just saying like, okay, I notice this. This is a piece of information. It's not good or bad. What do I want to do with this information? So I notice that I'm spending a lot of time comparing myself to other people on social media, and it doesn't feel good. And I'm letting, reducing my self-worth. I'm loosening up boundaries. I'm feeling less confident about myself, like all these things. It doesn't feel good. So what would make me feel better now that I found out this piece of information? And then deciding like, okay, maybe it's going to be muting or unfollowing people who don't make me feel good about myself. Or maybe it's starting a new practice that's going to help you to boost that confidence, or whatever it is, right? And so it's really just having that self-awareness without the guilt or shame that comes with it, and just saying, okay, here's what's happening. Here's what I've noticed about myself. Here's the pattern I've noticed. Here's, what I'm aware of now, piece of information. What would I like to do with it that would make my energy feel better? And that's really what's coming through for September, is the overarching theme of boundaries, cleaning up our energy, and self-awareness. If I were to sum it up into 3 little phrases. Is there anything else? No. That's everything coming through for the update. I would love to hear if this resonates for you. If you're listening to this and you were like, oh my gosh, you're speaking to my soul, please send me a message. I would love to know. As always, I would love if you would give us a nice review, and that will help us to reach this podcast across more people, get our message out there a little bit further. So that would be amazing. And I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for, this message actually does go hand in hand with what I was saying earlier about the membership. Like if you are looking for a space where you can consistently keep your energy clear, keep on track, then the membership would be just such a great place for you. And yeah, we're starting our energy healing this month. We'd love to have you if you're interested in joining. I'll link everything in the show notes. And other than that, my inbox is open if you want to chat, and we'll talk to you next week.